Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. This is your host, Scotty B. I would say all the things about where you can follow me, but that's okay. It's all in the notes. You can click the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications should I decide to create more content now that I'll be completely discouraged with all of the production value that Logan Paul has with his 23.6 million subscribers. And though I don't have that many, I do appreciate all of you. Everybody who comes to the show, all dozen views that I get on an episode, thank you so much, because you know what? I don't have that kind of production value and I don't pay for it. So you get what you get with the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary, and I'm okay with that because it isn't easy. Like, I know firsthand what these people do, what the influencers do, not easy. But here's today's topic. We're going to be talking about Twitter and what's going on there. Now, why are we going to be talking about Twitter? Well, because cosplayers already have a big problem with where to stick their content. Okay, like the only real option, the only thing that really comes up for cosplayers has been, okay, you've got your main choices. Okay, you've got your Facebook and your Instagram, you've got Twitter, you have TikTok, and there might be another platform on there that you could possibly put content on. But for the most part, it's going to be Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Those are kind of the big four for cosplay content right now. And I think a lot of people, they jumped to TikTok and then they stopped. They found that TikTok wasn't really giving them enough reach. They went into Instagram, and Instagram decided that, it's going to be part of Facebook and it's going to be all about monetization. And I think, Facebook still has a little bit of appeal, but again, it just gets lost in a sea of content. You're not getting a ton of value organically out of what you're posting in any space. To further complicate these things, Twitter was actually becoming a space where you could get a little bit of traction. Like, people were actually paying attention to things that was going on there. I mean, not that I really have a ton of followers on the Twitter, but I look at people like Roberto Blake. Hello, Roberto. If you're listening, if you're paying attention, just a shout out. He just eclipsed 70,000 followers on Twitter, which is amazing. Really great channel and platform. If you don't know anything about Roberto Blake, let me see if I can remember to put him in the show notes, in the links below, so you can check out what he's all about. It's not like I have a really strong relationship with him, but I know he is a little bit into the space because he does know what Dragon Con is, and he is a photographer and he is a designer. He is an amazing individual, and hats off to him for creating such a massive platform literally from nothing, and working through all of this stuff as a YouTuber, working through all of this as an influencer, working through all of this and building all of these platforms piece by piece, step by step, with really not much more than himself and his skills that he continually builds. Something to strive for myself. Mr. Blake, thank you so much. Of course, just shouting you out here on the show, but the thing that I really wanted to mention is okay, so you build all of this attention, and now it gets bought. So this free platform, and we've talked about this before, is yes, it's organic reach, but at the end of the day, this is not yours. It's not yours. You put things on these platforms. These platforms aren't yours, and they will change. They can get rid of everything you've ever done if they want to. Generally, they don't. But now we have monetization happening on Twitter. And it's not just a game anymore. It's becoming more of a business. This is becoming social influencer, the business versus the game, versus the I can get organic reach and I can build my platform for free. Well, the times are changing. Elon Musk is going to make sure that they change. And he's going to say, hey, we've got this wonderful little blue check thing. So if you want to be on our platform, you're going to have to pay for it. And honestly, I'm not sure that I care. I'm not sure that's a bad thing. I think, maybe one less streaming service and one more Twitter. I don't know. Like, the fact that you will be paying for social media service, I think it opens up Pandora's box. I think this could be bad if everything becomes a streaming service, which seems like what's happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like we're going to see streaming service, like this is my future, folks. You can take it or you can leave it. I see streaming services becoming more like social platforms and social platforms becoming more like streaming services. You're going to see the blending. Before we get to meta, before we all put goggles on our heads, and before we just immerse ourselves completely like the Ready Player One scenario of life, what we're going to see is this blending where it's going to be watch parties, it's going to be social media interaction constantly. Everything is going to be tied together. Why? Because what happens? We turn on our streaming services, and what do? Instantly and immediately to the phone. Like, we're on our phones. We're on the social media talking to people. It's like we're our own customer service most of the time. We're not even enjoying anything. Are we even watching the shows? Or are we just talking about watching the shows? But Twitter said, oh, well, we've got bills to pay, so you're going to pay $8 a month. Well, sure, to start. You want to keep that blue check? Well, a couple of years from now, it'll be 10. Maybe in 5 years, it'll be 20. Who knows where it ends? The other platforms use paid ads. It's basically the same thing, only, they get a lot more money. They get a lot of money for that. And I would see that Twitter would do both. They do say that you'll see less advertisements if you have the blue check. That's nice. I'd like to see none, but okay, fine. Streaming services do kind of the same thing. It's like, pay for it, see less ads, or, see some ads, pay more for it, don't see as many ads, or see no ads. So it's all about advertising. And that's the thing that I think cosplayers need to understand is this is all about, you're promoting yourself on these platforms. These platforms are free to use. But if you want to stay in the game, like, this is a problem, is staying in the game, staying relevant is becoming harder and harder and harder as an influencer, as a cosplayer. Now, Twitter was doing really well. Like, we were getting reach. We were feeling good about the things that we were putting on Twitter. But now it's like, oh, well, we want to add all these features to Twitter, so we're going to have to pay for that. And, it was a really expensive acquisition. I can understand this. But you're probably going to lose a lot of people. You're going to lose a lot of people. Maybe you won't lose the advertisers, but you will if you lose too many people because you're making them pay to be on the platform. There are probably enough people on Twitter who don't care if they are verified or not. I am one of the people who do. I care that I am verified and that I actually exist, because the long-term plan, the idea was to have 7 seasons, and we're still in season 4. We're probably going to keep season 4 going for a while because, you know what? It's fine. And YouTube eventually won't have seasons. So it's just going to be content. And I enjoy that more. I enjoy talking about this stuff more. I enjoy the long form, bloggy, vloggy, podcasty things. I like talking. And it's taken a while to get to this point where I feel comfortable just rattling through some of these key points or these hot topics. And I think that there are enough people who have said that this is ridiculous, but to me, it's like, well, I think this is the way things are going to end up going. We are paying for everything individually. You get to pick and choose. So it's a marketplace. Before you had your cable provider, you paid for cable, and everybody got upset about this. You didn't pay for Facebook. You didn't pay for going on Twitter back then. You didn't pay for any of that stuff back in the mid tens. 2012, 2013, 2014, nobody really thought about, like, if you were thinking about this back then, good for you. Then you're probably doing really well with it. But, a lot of people weren't, and you're just along for the ride, whatever. And now it's become so mainstream. It's become everything. Social media is everywhere. If you are a cosplayer, chances are you're making reels right now. And that, I don't know, it's just a lot of work. The fact that you have to pay for everything too. Being a cosplayer, you're already paying how much money just to make the cosplay. Okay, it's expensive to produce a cosplay channel. It's becoming more and more expensive to produce a cosplay based brand. Eventually, you're just going to talk like I do because it's just too expensive. But the information that I want to convey, and really the opinion is fact that I'm talking about today, is that, is it worth it? Like, is it worth it? Or are we going to see a shift? Are we going to see people go, you know what? I've got Netflix and Amazon Prime, and I'm gonna, and you can rattle off all the streaming services that you have, and you can say, well, now I'm on all of these other platforms for social media. But in the future, you're going to look at, oh, well, Facebook wants its monthly subscription and Instagram wants its monthly subscription, and they bundle because they're both Meta. And if you're on Meta, oh, well, maybe you just pay for Meta and you get both of them. Oh, wow, it's all inclusive. Well, Twitter might try to do this first because, smart. And the things that Elon Musk is trying to accomplish here with what he's doing, interesting concept, much like all the other things that he thinks about and tries to implement. But the whole point of having this verification is potentially to get rid of spammy accounts, potentially to get rid of people who don't have any skin in the game, the trolls, the bots, et cetera, et cetera. Will we eventually just see this being a paid platform? I know Vero True Social tried this. They were going to do this, like you were going to get grandfathered in and verified. And I think I am verified on Vero. I don't know. I haven't checked in a long time because who does. But the problem with all of this is eventually, you're going to have to pay for your social media. And which platform are you going to go with? Because I don't think a lot of people are going to want to pay for 10 different platforms. And now watch a bunch of new platforms come along, and there's going to be some changes. I don't know if social media is so locked up that there can't be new platforms coming along, although I think the barriers to entry are very strong. So cosplayers, I guess, beware, because Twitter could be Twitter has a lot of upside. It has a lot of possibilities. But I think we're just getting to that point where there are the people who've made it on all of these platforms. There are the big influencers, and then there's everybody else. And I'm in everybody else. I'll keep the YouTube channel going. If they decide that they want to charge for this, I'm gonna be like, oh, I don't know if I want to pay you to make content. Like, that seems backwards to me. And I think it's a little bit of the same thing with Twitter. Is like, wait a minute, I'm gonna pay you $8 a month, and I'm still going to make content for nothing, and it's going to cost me money to make it. And then I'm going to put it on your platform, and I'm going to pay you $8 to do that, to host it or whatever that is. Like, but that's not really what we're paying for. We are paying for the service and a few perks that go along with it. There's a list of things that you get when you pay the money to get this blue check. But I think that what's going to happen is you're just going to disappear. Like, nobody will see anything you do if you don't pay that fee. And I know that there's going to be, there'll probably be tie-ins to NFTs, and there'll be tie-ins to advertising, so you can boost your posts and do all the sort of same things that you do in other spaces. And it's really just becoming this huge game of like, how much of my paycheck do I want to spend on, individual brand influencing in a hobby, right? Like, I think the moral of the story here, folks, pay for it, don't pay for it. But cosplayers, you have to begin to think about what you're building. You have to begin to think about what the goal is. The goal can no longer be to collect as many people online as you possibly can, because it's going to cost you more money than it's worth. If this is all just a gateway to be in front of people at conventions, if this is all a gateway for you to feel important, you will have to change your mind about why you are doing these things. If it is related to things that you are selling, if it is related to a product or a service that you are providing, if you are providing information that is useful to other cosplayers, by all means. That is why I'm getting my blue check mark, because I want to provide things for other people. There is a path and a plan to what I am putting forth on the channel. The whole reason for Inferno was to see if this would be possible, and working with just a wonderful group of cosplayers to create content, to create one big piece of content, and knowing how hard that is to do it, to create something with massive amounts of production value, and just finding the time to do that. And now there are more expenses. Now we have to pay for our social media. So that is where I'm going to leave it, folks. Pay for Twitter, don't pay for Twitter. Be verified, don't be verified. I will leave it up to you. You can leave in the comments below, and you can like the video, and you can subscribe to the channel. You can do all the things. Please stay tuned for more content coming out soon. This is the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary and Scotty B saying bye-bye, everybody.